Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at BTC. Let's get into the charts and see what's going on. The ideas from yesterday are still viable, so we're going to go over these quickly. So we were talking about the potential where we could be looking for that possibility of a diagonal and looking for this as potentially either wave 1, 2, and then looking for a third wave. If we move up to this 32,852, invalidation is at this 29,500, and we are looking for one-to-one actually coming here towards this zone of this 31,615. If this is just going to be a three-wave move to the upside here, where we have this as ABC. Now this is still valid, like I said, until we actually hold this low here. What we could be looking for is the potential of a break to the upside here. Now, once again, we would have to count this as a diagonal here, as a wave 1, which makes this less probable. And what we would be effectively doing here is looking for that potential that we did come down towards this 30,070 area. We did have some zones in here that we were looking at yesterday, and we did come down into this and hit this pretty much on the head here. So if we are looking at this now and we're saying that this is 1, 2 here, what we need to see is this move to the upside start to progress up in a bigger way. Now, invalidation of this secondary 5-wave move would come by crossing this 30,044. And what I want to see here effectively is a 3-wave move to the downside here, looking to target out this 30,223 to this 30,120. Looking at this current structure here, there is potential that we still have another drop here. Even if we get something like this as a bigger push up here and then one more push to the downside here, possibly looking for this lower target area. So like I said, invalidation is this 30,044. Now, I've been looking at this area here of this golden pocket. This is looking particularly interesting to me as a horizontal support zone. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on that. If we do see price come down here one more time, potentially that could set up for that wave 2. Then we'd be looking for confirmation by actually getting a push up towards this 1618, which is sitting here at this 30,076, in which case then we'd be looking for a 4th wave roughly down towards this zone here of this 30,542, and then looking for a 5th wave to the upside, which would be this 30,905 to this 30,818 level. So if we are looking at this, however, what our target area is typically for our 3rd wave is actually up here towards this 31,281. So if this is the case and we're looking at this as 1, 2, and then looking for this as another 1, 2, what we ideally want to see here is this yellow 3rd wave extend so that we get a 5-wave move that brings us up into this zone for more confidence. Otherwise, what we could just have is that this is A, B, and C, and then this would align with the idea that this is just a corrective move here, and then we could actually see continuation to the downside. So we need to be careful. This bullish count is still potentially possible, but we need to see the waves actually follow through. Now, we were talking about the potential this 5th waves over here, and what we could actually see is that we are still within a bigger corrective move where we are either within this bigger B wave here, or we are already looking for this C wave to the downside. Now, we can also argue that this move could be WX, and then we're looking for A, B, and C to the downside. So we're going to go over that in a second. But this move that I've got shown on here is actually saying that potentially what we could have is an additional push up. So what I'm looking for here is that if we do actually see an additional leg to the upside here, what we could see is that we could see this as an A wave to the upside. This is a B wave. And then effectively what we are looking for here is a C wave to the upside. Now, our C wave target at a 1-to-1 would be this 31,602 level. And then if we do look at this higher target here, which would be common for a flat correction as an expanding flat, would actually be this 32,202 to this 31,906. So if we do start to see this develop as 1, 2, we get another 1, 2 here. We get that 3, 4, 5, an additional 4th and a 5th. Potentially these could become some of our targets, although we need to also be cautious of this level here of this 1-to-1, which would be this 31,431 level. So need to just be a little bit cautious. If we do move up into this zone, this would be 1-to-1 of the A wave here, and would align with this still being a expanding flat because you would have crossed this origin of this move over here. So we need to be on the lookout for this. Even if we do see a 5-wave move to the upside here, if we want to look for continuation, we need to find support again above this high over here, and then look for that push to the upside afterwards. So that's going to be our bullish scenario where we look for a 5-wave move up, 3 waves down, and then that continuation up. Now, we could also argue that this move is actually just a 3-wave move to the upside that we could be looking for here, where, like I said, possibly what we could have is this is ABC. Now, the key thing here is that as long as we actually stay below this X wave here, we need to be careful that this isn't W, this isn't X over here. And what we have is this is an A wave as a flat, looking for a B wave, and then looking for that C wave down. Now, 1-to-1 of this is a W, an X, and a Y would actually be sweeping these lows here towards this 29,451. And then we do have some other targets down here, this 1,236, which would be 1-to-1 of this A wave that we currently have to the downside. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do just get a rejection within this rejection area here, this 30,528 to this 31,012 area, we could look for potential rejection down here, where we just have a three-wave move up here and then face that rejection back to the downside. So that is what we are looking for in this count. We also do have the potential here that we could try and argue that this closes into this high here. And what I'm being mindful of here is that if we do just get a three-wave move up here, need to be careful of any kind of a drop towards a 28k. If we do, this could align with this whole move becoming a bigger five-wave move here, where this becomes our wave 1, we get a wave 2, 3, 4, and 5 to the downside. Now, it is possible this could be something like a flat correction with an extended C wave here, so we have to be careful of that, but we also have to be careful of that downside potential, because if we form a bigger five-wave move like this, really until we actually break back above the high point, we need to be careful that this doesn't become 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get three waves up and then that continuation to the downside. So that's going to be key here within this structure. Much the same idea with this, where we'd argued that we could potentially complete into this diagonal point here as a fifth wave, and then we're looking for this as A, looking for B and C. The key difference with this count is that if we do complete into this high, I would be looking for that potential of A, B, C, something like this, seeing a much deeper correction here. All of these actually looking to target out that typical zone that we look for as a support zone. So now this is looking at the bullish potential. If we fail to hold this low here at this 24,800, this invalidates this idea that we could be extending out in a bigger five-wave structure here, and would mean that this whole move is corrective. So what we want to see ideally is whether we finish here or here, is we want to see three waves down, looking to target out some of these lower levels. We have come down to this higher target area, which is very rare. We are ideally looking for 50% to a 786, which would be this 27,905 to this 26,084. So if we do see this move down into these lower ranges here, where we get something like this, this could actually mean that we have this as 1, 2, and then we could be looking for that push to the upside. But this is viable only for as long as we hold this 24,800. Otherwise, then it is more likely that what we actually have here on the bigger picture is that this whole structure here is actually just one big corrective move. And what we have is either this is going to be a W, an X, and a Y, and we maintain this low, so looking for three waves to the downside here, or alternatively what we could actually get is that this could be a five-wave move to the downside. So that would be looking at this structure actually forming from this high here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So target areas for this would be the 1-to-1 at this 26,174 to this 25,067 to this 23,373 as that expanding flat target. So if we get this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking at this as a big expanding flat here, this could align with coming back down into these levels. So gonna have to keep an eye on this to see whether we actually break down. Okay, so let's get into those smaller counts here and get back into this business end up the top end here. Okay, so with this, what we are talking about is two things. We could have this as either a corrective move to the upside here, and what we're looking for here within this count is that this could be W, this could be X, and then we could be just looking for a straight ABC to the upside, looking for this potential of coming up towards this 1-to-1 here, which would also be a 0.618 of this W wave, which would meet that minimum requirement. Alternatively, if we do see price push-ups higher here, potentially we could look to target out this 1-to-1, which is sitting up here at the 30,801 level. Now we do also have the 1618 sitting in this area, so we need to be careful, because if we get A, B, and we get a move up towards this 1618 from where we currently are, then potentially what we could see is an additional fourth and a fifth to the upside. This would still align with the idea of this being corrective if we don't hit that higher target that we talked about in the bullish count. So going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see this move to the upside in this way, this could align with that idea of having a retracement up here where we're looking for this typical rejection area of this 31,012 to this 30,528. Now, I would be keeping an eye on this central channel line, which is sitting towards this 31K region directly above us. Obviously 31K, nice whole number. I'm going to be keeping an eye on that as well if we do start to see price move up there. So it is also possible within this that potentially this X wave could actually still be in play, where this is actually A into here, this is a B wave as a flat, and then we see something like this where we actually get a W, an X, and a Y down here for this X wave. So if we do look to actually lose this low here of this 30,046 and we start to break down, I will still be on the lookout for the potential that we could see support come in here again towards this 30,072. As well as that, we do have this lower range here, this 29,859. Between those regions could align with actually seeing an additional push down here. So looking at this move here, if this is A, B, and we're looking for a C wave down, 121 would actually bring us back down into this 30,099 level. So that would align with coming back into these lows. Alternatively, if this does look to push down deeper, then we do have some confluence here between this 1382, this 29,984 as a possible target for this as a continuation where actually this corrective move isn't completed yet. And then if we do manage to maintain this low here, I would still be looking for that potential of another 3-wave move up, which could still look to bring us back into that potential target area as a B wave. So that's looking at this as just corrective. And then we did touch on this idea of the impulsive structure here. We need to see this move up towards 31,281 for more confidence within this move, but even then we'd need to get evidence of that 4th and that 5th, which could look to push us up here towards this 31,582 to this 31,397. What we need to see after that point would be support holding within this target box here of this 30,537 to this 30,037 level, and ideally maintaining this low here of this 29,701. Looking at the daily CPR, what we can see is that we are currently above these central lines. If we do continue to hold these, we could see price be gravitated towards this S1 line at this 30,433. Other targets for today are this 30,578, this 30,778, and this 30,919. So this would align with that idea of seeing an additional move up here, looking for this to be an incomplete corrective structure where we see something like this play out. Alternatively, if we do look at our downside targets and we start to lose this area here of this 30,260 to this 30,213, we could potentially see price get gravitated back towards this R1 line, which would be this 30,090. So that would align with that idea that we could see another push down here as a corrective structure, looking to actually come back into these lows. Alternatively, lower down here, we do have this 29,898. We have this 29,748 and this 29,556 as possible downside targets for today. Now, as well as that, if we come over here onto the weekly, we can see that we are still currently rejecting off this weekly CPR. So this will get a new one printed as of tomorrow. But if we do actually look to start to break down here, potentially what we could see is price be gravitated into this R1 at this 29,651, and then we also have this R2 down here at this 28,685 as possible target areas. Now, if we do manage to flip this zone back into support and get back above this, potentially we could see price be gravitated towards this S1 line at this 31,437, and we do have the S2 up here at this 32,284. But like I said, we don't have a lot of time left for these CPR lines, so we will get new ones printed as of tomorrow. Now, monthly CPRs, we can see that we come down into this top CPR line here, this top of the central lines here. If we do continue to hold this, potentially we could see price be gravitated towards this S1 line at this 32,999. But we need to just bear in mind that if we do see price push down one more time here, rather what we could be looking to do is actually come back and test the central line here at this 29,900 as a possible target. And then we also have this 28,107. Then lower targets for this month would be this 26,371. And this lower one here would be this 22,259. 39 as possible targets for this month. Alternatively, if we are looking at the upside targets for this month, we have that one stated already, 35,545 and this 39,642. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone, have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.